Let me ask Ms. Franklin and Ms. Williams a question. Your jurisdiction, let me be sure I get the title correct. Privacy and Civil Liberties Oversight Board. I got that right? Your jurisdiction is pretty broad, isn't it?
So the jurisdiction is broad in some ways in that the board has oversight over counterintelligence programs across the intelligence community with regard to privacy and civil liberties, but it's focused on counterintelligence or it's focused on counterterrorism, not all privacy and civil liberties issues.
Right, okay. I think this is a very important board, but I'm sitting here thinking, we spent 3-4 years with some, not all, I'm going to emphasize that, but some, not all members of our FBI and our Department of Justice selling the Steele Dossier. Does that embarrass you?
So, Senator, I think, there have been 3 Inspector General reports with regards to some of the things that went on, and I think that the recommendations in them are a good recommendation.
Well, let me ask you this, Ms. Wayne. Do you think the Steele Dossier is true?
Well, Senator, I have no basis to believe it's true or either way. I
You don't have an opinion?
I mean, I don't have any factual basis to know whether or not I do. From what I've read, it sounds like there's some concerns with the way it was procured.
So I don't understand. Yeah. Do you believe it's true or not true?
So I haven't read the Steele Dossier, but from the news reports, it sounds like there may be falsehoods in it. But again, I don't have personal knowledge of it.
Ms. Franklin, do you have an opinion on whether it's true or not true?
I also have not had access to read the dossier, but I can say that I share your concern.
Yeah, but you know if it's true. I want to understand where you're coming from. Do you believe it's true or not true?
I believe that the Inspector General of the Justice Department found significant problems in 3 reports, including 17 significant errors or omissions in the FISA applications regarding Carter Page.
So you believe it's not true?
I believe that the Inspector General found these errors and omissions, which are highly concerning.
You agree with the Inspector General?
I find the Inspector General's report very convincing, yes.
Okay. So you don't believe the Steele Dossier is true? Why is it so hard for you all to tell me what you think here? That's pretty basic.
I would turn to the errors and omissions that the Inspector General did point to, which were significant, and I know that Congress has attempted to take steps to address those.
Well, here's what I'm getting at. I mean, I can tell y'all don't want to answer, and I really regret that. I mean, this to me it's not political. It was these allegations that turned out not to be true. It doesn't matter who they were about, but some members of our federal government put the full force and weight of the power of the office behind this dossier. And it didn't matter who they were. And I can't believe you can't agree with me that it's not true. I mean, there have been 3 inspectors general reports. Where was your agency? Did anybody at your agency stand up and say, wait a minute, before we make all these allegations on the basis of the Steele Dossier, shouldn't we check whether they're true? I mean, FBI Director Comey sold this thing for 5 years. James Clapper was prepared to make a public statement that we're not sure if the dossier is accurate, and Director Comey called him and said, no, don't say that. Where were you guys at the board? You're supposed to protect civil liberties. You're supposed to protect privacy. Does it matter whose privacy and civil liberties are being infringed? Either one.
So, Senator, I wasn't at the board. I haven't been at the board yet, but I agree with you that that is exactly the role of the Privacy and Civil Liberties Oversight Board, right?
Thank you.
To ensure that the privacy and civil liberties of Americans are taken into account, and to make sure that our intelligence agencies are being completely forthright and truthful with the decision.
Thank you for that. Well, you were there, Ms. Franklin, right? You weren't there?
No, Senator.
Okay, well,
I was
when
not there.
you both get there, I wish you would talk to your colleagues over there. They ought to hide their heads on a bag. They're in charge of protecting American civil liberties and privacy, and it doesn't matter who you are. And they sat there sucking on their teeth like a bump on a log and never said a word. I'm done. Thank you for your indulgence, Mr. Chairman, and I like your haircut.
Haven't had one in a while. Thank you, Senator Kennedy. And I'd just like to say to those who are new to this environment that the mini bar exam that Senator Kennedy gives to many of these witnesses reminds me of my anxiety in law school, where I sat in the last row and slumped down to the point where I have curvature of the spine in the hopes that I wouldn't be called on to answer what 15B is or anything like that. But nevertheless, always entertaining and always well presented. The second objection made by the senator relates to your lack of candor. On this side of the table, we're a different branch of government than what you're aspiring to, by and large. And we have opinions on everything and express them willingly, particularly if it's televised, and very seldom hold back. We know that on the judicial side, the opposite is true. You don't want to put yourself on the record in a situation that may disqualify you from a case, and the frustration Senator Kennedy feels with some of your lack of candor, we felt on the Democratic side with the other administration. It is by nature a reflection on the branches of government being a little different in philosophical approach, to say the least. So before I adjourn today, I want to thank you for cooperation and patience, especially to Caroline and Jamie. Are they still back there? Good. Good job, kids. Questions for the record will be due to the nominees by 5 p.m. on Wednesday, January 19th, and the record remains open until that time to submit letters and similar materials. And with that, this hearing stands adjourned.